Hello everyone, my name is Lowko, and welcome back to a best of 5 series of professional StarCraft 2. Now what I've got for you today is a Protoss versus Protoss. Over the last couple of weeks, I've noticed in the comment section that several of you have requested, maybe it's actually just one guy posted it on every single video, but a couple of you have requested for me to cast a series of PvP. Now, truth be told, while Protoss versus Protoss is a lot of fun to play and there is the occasional amazing match, PvP, it's widely considered to be the worst matchup in StarCraft 2. Now, the reason why I've decided to go ahead and cast a series of it right now is because of the new multiplayer balance patch that went live pretty recently. For those of you that aren't completely up to date, the Nexus now has a new ability. It's right over here on the right-hand side. It's called the Battery Overcharge. So you have the Chrono Boost, you have the Recall, and then now you also have Battery Overcharge. And the idea is that you can overcharge a battery and then hopefully stay alive for a little while longer. So in Protoss versus Protoss, it is very, very common for people to go ahead and put pylons and gateways and, you know, robotics facilities and stargates and basically all kinds of structures all over the map. This matchup, it's absolutely the most cheesy matchup in the game. I mean, maybe Zerg versus Zerg is up there as well, but at the very least, ZVZ tends to transition. If a player commits to, like, putting a proxy out on the map and they get caught, it's pretty much always game over. But obviously, if it works, it's pretty much always game over as well, because the amount of damage that you can provide, especially with warpins as well from that pylon that you proxy to power your structures, I mean, you can just simply end the games super, super quickly. So I'm hoping here that in this series, we're gonna see some use of that battery overcharge as well. Obviously, I haven't seen these games myself. But at the very least, you know what? Second pylons, they're going up inside of the main base for both players. That's already something. Although I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, this is a best of 5 series, right? We're gonna be getting a bunch of games here for sure. That we are, or I wouldn't be surprised if we are gonna be seeing at least a little bit of cheekiness here throughout this series. And already, actually, would you look at that? The red Protoss player here decides to go ahead and put a pylon inside of the main base of the blue player. Playing here with the blue Protoss probes from South Korea, we have Trap and his opponent in the opposite corner with the red Protoss pieces. We're looking inside of the main base of Deer. It's going to be a double Stalker opener right now versus a double Adept opener. Now, by the way, this is still unscouted, right? He's maybe going to put down his, like, tech structure right around here, or maybe over here even, I don't really know. I don't know if he's going to be able to catch that pylon. It's going to be 2 sentries as a follow-up. Double Stalker, obviously, very, very helpful, especially when it comes to dealing with the double Adepts. Usually what you try and do with the Adepts is shade them into your opponent's main base, and that's also the reason why we do see that big wall right over here, that big hole in the wall here at the top of the ramp. This is something that Deer can plug with a single pylon, which is also why that probe is hanging out in that location. Both players, though, opting to go for an expansion right now. A relatively safe approach here. But let's see if they get something done. Now, apparently, by the way, the sentries, they've activated the tickle beams. They're going to be able to get rid of this pylon here eventually. All right, the 2 Adepts, though, they've made their way towards the other side. Pylon will start up in time, prevents that shade from getting in. But I guess he's still going to be able to get 2 worker kills here for his troubles. So that's not bad whatsoever. There's 2 Stalkers. They were hanging out at the Watchtower, I think. Maybe they were adventuring out into the map a little bit further. They're going to come back right now to defend. At the same time, though, Deer managed to get his own 2 Adepts across the map, too. There are 3 sentries available right now. Hallucination Scout coming up, and Trap does complete the wall up there, just barely in time. Both players going for the Robo approach, okay? All right, that's nice. So the Robotics Facility, it can deal a lot of damage, obviously, when you get yourself that Prism out, and also the Immortals. Immortals are absolute king in this matchup. I almost feel like you could almost commit there and deal potentially some damage there to the sentries. Sentries, very, very powerful units, of course. The nice thing about getting the sentries is that with a previous balance patch a little while ago, the hallucination ability is now a little bit cheaper. It's been that case for, like, I don't know, since like November. But it's very, very important for Protoss versus Protoss, because right now you can scout out what's going on a little bit easier here with those sentries, so you can open up just a little bit safer. So Blizzard is slowly taking steps in the right direction, I think, for this matchup. And the Battery Overcharge, I wouldn't be surprised if it's going to make defending all kinds of cheeses way, way easier. And hopefully that's going to create some more exciting games as well. Because technically there's a lot of potential, right? Especially if we were to get to the late game. There's a lot of different moves you can make in PvP. But it's just true that the vast majority of the games end within the first couple of minutes. Alrighty, so no damage really has been done yet. But you can see here that Trap's build order is just simply way more efficient, right? Deer wanted to get some more work done. He's going to be able to add his sentries into the mix right now. Is he going to commit? Yeah, he will. He will try and snipe those adepts, or sorry, these sentries right now at the front. 2 of them already go down. Third one, probably... Oh, missed-targeting there. Yeah, it will still get picked off too. That's a really, really nice setup right now for Trap. Because not only does he have the economical advantage, obviously by going for that robo facility, he can follow this up with a push here in just a little bit. Adepts have a tendency to fall off, especially in big engagements. So if you manage to snipe your opponent's sentries like that, they can deal a lot less damage. Alright. Prism is up. Was this spotted here? Yeah, you should at the very least notice it. Ooh, now if he gets the Prism, that will be huge. No blink or whatever available though at this point in the game at the very least. Yeah, he's just going to be able to set himself up in a nice defensive posture. Alternatively, I think that Trap is going to go for a push here because it makes... Yeah, okay, he's adding on a lot of gateways right now as well. Alternatively, he could try and expand behind this. But this is like a pretty good example. If you manage to get your opponent's sentries like that, the defense is going to be super, super difficult. Now, this is, I guess, where we might see some use of that battery overcharge here in just a little bit. He'll probably end up putting down the... if this is going to indeed be a push, I mean, I think it should be, right? With this many gateways. He'll probably see the army moving out with this observer over here. And if that's the case, he will likely add on a couple of shield batteries at the front, which may make the defense just a little bit easier. 2 adepts, by the way, constantly threatening to shade into the main base. Now, obviously, both of these guys super, super good, so they know what it is that they need to get done. Observer, though, does spot that there's not a whole lot going on just yet. Alright. I was gonna say, where did the 2 shooty boys go? There they are. The Immortals inside of the plane. They're just flying around. This is a bit of a risky move. Third base right now, though. Not taken by either player. Oh my god. Ooh. Careful now. Immortals, obviously, that deal a lot of damage, especially against armored units. They're absolutely phenomenal. Actually, oh my god, if he gets an Immortal here, that would be so big. Okay, he's not going to be able to do that. Pick up range there. Pretty helpful, but he did obviously hurt that Immortal quite a bit. This one, though, I mean, it is going to... Both of them, I guess, are going to regenerate some shields here as well. You see this lull in the game? This is also kind of common for PvP, where neither player really wants to commit to too much yet. They're just trying to get a little bit of work done. And it's just this weird, like, lull in the game after the early game aggression that usually happens in a macro game as well. Now, the pylon actually was target fired down there, so the production hurt quite a bit. I think that this is a moment for Trap to potentially strike. Now, obviously, this is something that Deer is aware of as well, so that's why he's got that prism across the map. That way he can try and keep his opponent contained for a little while longer, but ultimately he is going to need this prism all the way home as well. Shield batteries, are they being added on? Okay, there's one of them. A couple of them actually are being added on here. Deer obviously ended up taking some damage there on that Immortal. Prism is not home yet. It will be recalled, so this one is going to be available right now as well. But those sentries from earlier, they're going to hurt quite a bit. Plus, the defensive position right now should make this relatively doable here for the South Korean Protoss player in red. Let's see. Ooh, 2 hallucinated Archons here in the front as well. Immortal juggling is going to be very, very critical, so pay attention to those Immortals. They can deal so much damage. But there's not a whole lot of sentries available. No Guardian Shield available either. Now, there is the Battery Overcharge. It's going to keep the units that are defending alive for a little while longer. It looks like Trap wants to disengage for now for just a little bit. He's fighting right now outside of the range of that shield battery, so a lot of that defensive advantage is negated. Prism is starting to take quite a bit of damage as well, but it does not get target fired down. But I think there might just be a little bit too much here for Trap. Small advantages lead to big advantages in a matter of minutes. And there we go. Game number 1 goes in favor of Trap. Alrighty. So, there's a lot of discussion going on right now in StarCraft 2. Or not necessarily a lot, but there are a lot of people talking about the Mothership Core. So some of you might recall the Mothership Core. It was a thing back in the day. It sucked. It was the biggest band-aid in StarCraft 2 history. Rather than making Protoss early game actually competent, they decided to give Protoss an additional unit, which worked out well when it came to defending lots of different pushes, but it really did make Protoss versus Zerg and Protoss versus Terran kind of boring. Because Protoss, I mean, they could just hold on by going for the Mothership Core really early on, and they could just sort of defend everything for a very, very long time. However, the one matchup that was way better with the Mothership Core added into the game was Protoss versus Protoss. Now, generally speaking, right, we're always trying to, like, when it comes to, like, game balance in StarCraft 2, we're always looking for, like, a 50-50 between both races, right? So say you're casting a Protoss versus Terran, or you're watching a Protoss versus Zerg, whatever. You want both of the players to have even chances to win, right? So, since mirror matchups, I mean, in mirror matchups, yeah, one of the two players always ends up winning, and if they're both Protoss in this case, it's always going to be a 50-50 regardless, right? There's always going to be one winning and then one losing. There's really not a lot of imbalance in a matchup like this. So, when it comes to, like, game balance and game design in that sense, it always kind of feels like the mirror matchups in StarCraft 2 are a bit of an afterthought. Just because they're, by default, already perfectly balanced, even if it's, you know, not necessarily very exciting to watch. Now, I do genuinely think, though, that PvP was much better when the Mothership Core was in the game, but, yeah. I do hope that we're never going to see that unit again, though. It was kind of lame. Now, maybe there was a chance, though, for Deer to, like, to defend in that previous game. I mean, it felt like he may have had a chance there, but he ended up moving a little bit farther away there from his Nexus than he absolutely needed to. But Trap, obviously, playing a little bit stronger there in the early game. He just simply had a couple more sentries, and Guardian Shield is absolutely used. He ended up, or absolutely huge, he just ended up having more stuff. And, well, more stuff beats less stuff most of the time in SC2. Alright, so, very quick Stargate this time around here from Trap. Obviously, Protoss does have a lot of variety there. Remember the early days, actually, of Protoss versus Protoss back in Wings of Liberty? Some of you might recall that as well. If you're a boomer like me, a StarCraft boomer. Back then, it really was rock, paper, scissors. You could open up Twilight, which would beat Stargate, because you would go Blink Stalker. Blink Stalkers, however, would get beat by Immortals. But then, obviously, Immortals, they would get beat by Stargate openers. So you had this weird triangle going on in the early days of SC2, where, yeah, it was just a full-on rock, paper, scissors, assuming both players played reasonably well. And, well, that's not really the case anymore these days. It is still, you know, it still is in the back of our minds, right? Like, there's still a little bit of potential there as well. Because every once in a while, I mean, this is certainly the matchup that has the most build order deficits and the most build order, you know, losses and wins. There is quite a bit of cheekiness there as well. Alright. So, Nexus is coming up. You can see the one for Trap, though, is quite a bit later. He ended up getting himself that Oracle out. Now, he's been scouting all over the map. I actually expected him to send that Oracle straight across, but I think he's a little bit worried here about a big push as well from his opponent. Trap did end up seeing the Nexus timing there, too, so maybe he's expecting that it could be like a fake Nexus. Like, there's a lot of, like, cancelled structures as well in PvP, where you make your opponent think that you're gonna go for a cheese, but then you end up not going for a cheese. For a while, I remember Proxy Stargate, it was considered a macro build, because if your opponent scouted that one of your pylons was lacking in your main base, they expected that it was going to be some sort of cheese, but then by not even going for the cheese in the first place, but just proxying the pylon, you could sometimes deal an awful lot of damage as well and go for a Nexus because your opponent is playing hyper defensively. There's a lot of weird moments in PvP. Anyways, Deer right now has all of his Adepts on the other side of the map. At the same time, the Adepts over here are trying to get something done. Now, there is a wall-off over here as well for Deer, so he's not going to be able to get that much work in. At the same time, though, that Oracle is going to be able to... well, I mean, it's going to be able to defend here reasonably well. We do see the second layer of the wall off here for Trap, preventing those Adepts from getting into the base. And even though I don't know if he originally intended on using those Oracles defensively, this is... oh my god, he actually got them in. There we go. This is basic... oh my god, this is basically what you're trying to... oh, this is what you want to prevent. So if you target fire down properly, you can get the kills here before the shield battery actually... well, this is a small amount of workers so far. If you target fire properly, you can indeed kill them before the shield battery gets the heal up. But 5 workers here is already a pretty healthy number. That's 7 in total. Oof, almost getting the 8th one as well. Obviously, a bunch of the Adepts fell, but they also fell on the other side of the map. So, once again, a nice advantage here from Trap. And he can build this, right? He can build this. This is where we arrive in that lull in the game, where Deer can't really make a move, right? And Trap really can't make much of a move either. He's already got himself the Robo facility. All he really wants to do right now is just make more stuff. They're gonna threaten maybe a couple of Shade Buys over here. Maybe, you know, threaten with the Oracles as well. But, I mean, Oh my god, if he gets the sentries here, no, he doesn't have enough energy. He does have a little bit, but very, very small amounts. Anyways, there's only so much you can do at this point. The comeback potential, it's just not really a thing. Well, I think that's game, guys. It's just gonna take another 3 minutes. But that is a 12 additional worker count going down there. 19 probes getting killed here, and they're showing us what he is made of. Alright. Now, I don't really know. I don't have any suggestions, right? Like, a lot of the times I end up critiquing certain things in StarCraft 2, and then people are always like, well, Lowko, what is your answer then? Tell me what you think they should do. I don't know, man. I'm no game designer. I'm good at complaining, though. I try not to complain too much, but look at this, actually. Trap not even adding on any shield batteries right now. This is going to be a complete all-in here from Deer. He has not added on a whole lot. I mean, he's making a couple of probes, so he's trying to see if he can potentially come back into this. But I'm looking at that supply count. Yeah, Trap doesn't even need shield batteries, man. He's going to add on a couple more pylons over here. Maybe he's going to make one just for the hell of it, but he's got a much stronger army here. Like, Immortal count is so huge in this matchup. Just having one more Immortal, it doesn't sound super big, but it really adds up. Trap is going to be able to get a second one here as well. Immortals just plow through all of those Stalkers so very quickly. There we go, decent force fields, but obviously there's a Prism available as well, so they're going to be able to pick up the weakened units quite nicely. There's the Immortal once again, being picked up and sent backwards, forcing the other units to then attack something else, and I've got a feeling that there is way too much right now for Trap to even remotely, you know, stand a chance in fighting that. There was even a Phoenix available as well to gun down what's it called? The Prism. And right now, actually, with the speed upgrade. Oh, nice pickup there as well. With the speed right here. This is cool, actually. Look at that. Trap is catching up because of those speed zones with those Stalkers. Yeah, well, I mean, the Prism actually is going to end up going down here, but he can just rally units across the map at this point, and he should be a-okay. Shield batteries, though, are coming up, so Deer is going to try and see if he can hold on. There's a defensive Immortal as well. If these batteries finish up, he can overcharge one of them. It's going to be reasonably okay. One of them gets targeted down. Second one also gets targeted. No, not quite yet. Oh my god, nice force field, though, forcing the kill right there as well. On that Immortal, and that's it. GG is called. 2-0 advantage for Trap. Alrighty, so here we go. Oh, Trap. Oh, he took those probes on the top section of the mineral patches. On a bit of a walk, apparently. Anyways, the next map is gonna be Everdream. Now, by the way, I don't claim to be a Protoss versus Protoss expert. I do think, though, if you've seen, like, I don't know, like 5 series, like 5 best of 5 series of PvP, you've kind of seen all of them. It always kind of feels repetitive, which is weird because I know that all of the other matchups are repetitive as well, but it just seems like one player gets an advantage, and then it's game over. And I know that that may be the case as well in some of the other matchups in the game, like for example in Zerg versus Terran, but at least there's a lot of different ways in which players can try and come back. And I guess that comeback potential, it's just not really there for Protoss versus Protoss. Now, I did manage to get up to Master 1 again with Protoss just about a month or two ago, actually, which was a lot of fun. I have to say, I actually really enjoyed playing PvP. So Protoss versus Protoss, it's a much slower matchup. If you compare it especially to Zerg versus Zerg, right? Like Zerg versus Zerg, it's so fast. In ZVZ, you can come back with just playing better micro than your opponent. And I guess you can kind of do that in PvP as well. But, you know, Zerg versus Zerg is so fast, it's much more easy for your opponent to get a miscontrol in. Obviously, for Terran versus Terran, I mean, it's one of the most strategic and one of the most beautiful matchups in the game right now, in my opinion. I think Terran versus Terran is absolutely amazing. Now, here's what I think is going to be one of those meme builds. Would you look at that? Deer proxying the pylon here at 22 supply. So this was super common, especially in the previous balance patch. And actually, would you look at that as well? Trap now proxying his pylon too. So here's the kicker, right? He could just go ahead and expand. Like, both of them could just go ahead and expand and make this look totally fine. The thing is, as soon as the opponent figures out that there is a pylon lacking inside of the main base, and neither of them is scouting for it in this case, but they might freak out and then prepare for, you know, a potential push. So therefore, like, not planting your second pylon in the main base can oftentimes get you an advantage because your opponent is going to play overly safe, and therefore you can expand. Does that make any sense? Like, it makes sense in my head to explain it that way, but I'm not entirely sure if it actually does. Anyways. What are they going to plant down? It's going to be a robo facility over here in the top section of the map. Trap just putting down that pylon in a random position. Now, Trap did get a little sneak peek over there. I think he noticed that that gateway on the left was not producing right away. So I don't know if he actually picked up on that. But I think that probe may have arrived and saw that there was nothing in production for a little bit. He sees also there is another pylon over here, but he may very well start scouting around. What? That was weird. He may very well start scouting around here in just a little bit as well, trying to see if there is a bit of a proxy going on. Now look at this though, right? Over the years, players have gotten so good at scouting the different proxy locations. There is putting the freaking robo facility all the way over there. Like, that's basically the same as putting it inside of his main base at this point, right? Like, that really doesn't give you much of an advantage, other for the fact that your opponent is not going to be able to scout it very well. 4 adepts, though, right now is going to be apparently the option here for Trap. He's going to go even into 6 adepts. Just casually puts down the Nexus here on the low ground, regardless of what is happening. I don't mind this position too much right now for Deer, though. Is he going to commit? He does get a shot off immediately. There we go. He does commit. Yeah, getting the first shot off when you shade in is very, very helpful. 1 Stalker for 1 Adept. Pretty good deal. And, well, while he's trying to shade into the main base, it's not quite going to happen. Alrighty. So, Immortal is out. Prism is out. You can start a little bit of juggling here in just a little bit. Extra gateway right now being added on as well. And it's just going to be a robo here, a delayed robo for Trap. He does go for the double shield battery here at the front. So this is the kind of build that I'm especially interested in right now. Is this going to be something that Trap will be able to defend because of the overcharge? So he saved up energy over here. As you can see, he's got plenty of energy to overcharge one of those pylons. All right, here's the aggression. Can he defend this? Because this was one of those builds that would be extremely hard to defend with a Nexus on the low ground in the previous patch. Well, I guess he's waiting for the second one. I think he's waiting right now for the second Immortal to come out. This is going to give Trap all of the time that he needs, though. Look at that. He's not really adding on any additional workers. He's going to go for his own Immortal right now as well. You know what? I think that Deer has already kind of given up on it. Yeah, so I think that answers my question. Since, you know, it wasn't exactly scouted, but he knew that something was not quite right. This may actually now lead into a more, I don't know, a more or macro-focused game. I say that, but on the other hand, right, if Trap... No, actually, there's really not a way that would happen, right? If Deer right now wants to go for a Nexus, he's going to be pretty far behind, economically speaking. So he kind of now has to commit to this push. It's 3 Immortals going up against 1 Immortal, second one finishing up, but obviously a lot of defensive shield batteries. 1 little Phoenix over here is going to confirm exactly what's going on. With good micro, though, maybe there's a chance for Deer to actually deal some good damage here. I don't know if Trap wants to move that far away from his mineral line, to be honest. Probably want to sit close here to the defense of the shield batteries. If you just overcharge the one here in the back, that could obviously be amazing. Because that's not going to be targeted. Okay, good set of force fields coming up. Keep in mind, there's also a prism right here available for Deer. Shield batteries, though, man, so helpful. Trap actually being very cautious as well, not really using the battery overcharge just yet. Just keeps on trying to defend. Now, obviously, the longer that this goes on, right, the better that this scenario for Trap is going to be. He's got his own third... Ooh! He's got his own third Immortal here available right now, too. But I think that this defensive position right now is just absolutely amazing for the player in blue. Still no Prism available. Immortals trying to see if they can potentially target fire something down. Shield battery, though, does get overcharged. And you can see it's really healing a lot of those troops quite nicely back up to a reasonable amount of health. It felt like nothing really died there. I mean, that was a pretty big fight, but it felt like nothing really happened. Prism is going to finish up here as well, and that should allow Trap to defend this quite easily. It's even engaging right now the army. Pretty far away from the rest of his forces. Ooh, I don't know if you want to necessarily go there. Ooh, Immortals get snatched into the Prism just barely in the nick of time. Deer apparently wants to continue this, though. Well, he is starting to break through this. The shield batteries are very, very low right now as well on energy. Nice little move right here for Deer. Oh, man. Once again, good force fields, though. Slices off a couple of these units. Now, obviously, these shield batteries, they're going to regenerate shields here as well. The longer that this goes on, that technically, like, it should become reasonable. It should become reasonable here for Trap. All right. One base all in. Wave number 74. Oh, actually, the adepts... Bro? Okay, I was gonna say, he's not gonna commit with those. Now, notice here, Deer has not really produced anymore out of this robo for... Well, he just got one done, but he's not producing out of it anymore right now. There's constant uptime here for Trap. Once again, shield battery overcharge. Really nice. Oh my god, this may actually be really, really good for him. Immortal's running so low, but excellent juggling here by both players, though. Keeping so many of those alive for such a long time. Yeah. Oh my god. The battery overcharge there. The battery overcharge. Super, super nice. He's now going to be able to push the issue. And I think that Trap actually just did it. He was pretty far behind there, but the battery overcharge just allowed him to keep those units alive for quite a bit longer. So that's promising, man. Like, that's actually really, really good to see. Is he going to just send him across? Okay, yeah. At this point, Deer knows that Trap can just split up his army and still defend against his push regardless. That battery overcharge there, very, very cool to see. It does show that there is potential, and we may very well see a little bit less cheese going into the future. Anyways, that is going to be a 3-0 advantage there for Trap, which does mean that he wins the best of 5 series. I hope that you enjoyed watching this video. If you did, hit that like button down below. If you want to see more, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you get notified as soon as future videos go live. Let me know down below in the comment section what you think of Protoss versus Protoss. I'm actually really curious in hearing your thoughts. I wouldn't be surprised if the battery overcharge does make this matchup quite a bit more interesting going into the future, but we'll see. We'll see. For now, though, I want to thank you for watching. Have an amazing day. Don't forget to smile. And I'll see you once again in the next one.